This morning, like I do every Sunday, I get up super early and I read the news to see if there's anything I need to know before, coming here, and something that I might need to pray about. And this morning I was reading the Morning Brew, which had a little article on it, and it said grandmother stand. Grandma, I'm a new grandma, so I thought, that's intriguing, so I clicked on it. And it's a story about a man named Mike Matthews who lives in New York. And some of you may have heard of him because his proposal to his fiancée, I guess, was a big deal. He did this whole big enactment thing. And he had a coworker, come to him and ask him for advice. And he thought, instead of offering her my advice, I think she should talk to my grandma. Because my grandma gives really good advice, and my grandma's very wise. And so he connected them, and the next day the woman came in and said, your grandmother was fantastic. She gave me the best advice, but mostly she really listened to me. And so he had this idea that maybe people need more of that in their lives. Maybe they need to have somebody who would just listen to them. And so he developed this thing, and this booth that he put up in New York, in Manhattan, on the Upper West Side. You want to show the picture? Grandma Station. And he had his grandma work it, and they would come up with a question of the day, but you didn't have to answer, you didn't have to use that question. You could use that question if you wanted to, but his grandma would work the booth and just be, a listening ear for anyone that was happening to walk by. Now, his grandma has since passed. This was maybe 10 years ago or so, and she was 109, I think, lived. Anyway, he's got now 6 grandmas that man the station. And he's always looking for more grandmas. And he on Instagram, they come up with questions. He picks the best question of the week, and that's the question. And he said, you know what? Not only is this a great thing for New Yorkers, and not only are they getting somebody to listen to them and somebody maybe to give them some gentle advice, but they're connecting with their own grandparents again. They're realizing that there's something to be said for people who have lived a good, long life, that they have some wisdom and some advice. And we have a lot of wisdom and advice, and maybe advice giving in this room. Maybe not so much, not in your groups anyway. Yeah, we're not doing that. But it's an act of kindness. And they're looking for people who are better listeners than talkers. So I just loved that little story. I had to share that with you because today we're talking about how can we express kindness. It's one of the attributes, creating kindness. We're talking about 2 of them today. The other one is staying aware of the truth, or bringing forth truth. Bringing forth truth. There's 13 attributes, according to Judaism, of loving kindness. These 13 attributes are part of spirit, are attributes that describe God or spirit or the force or whatever you want to call it. And they also, since they're part of spirit, they are part of us. And so we can cultivate them, we can embody them, we can bring more of these attributes into our lives so that we can be a kinder, gentler, more tender, loving society. And so we're invited to do that with this work that we've been studying, and we're on week 5 of a 7-week program. We're looking at bringing forth truth first. I'm going a little out of order for the reading. It's the 2nd chapter, but I want to talk about that one first because we need to. We so many of us, and myself included, have stories that we hang on to. We have stories about who we are. We have stories about why we are the way we are. We have stories, and those stories have a time and place, and then they are no longer serving us. And we need to let go of those stories. And what happens when we let go of those stories? We allow for us to create new stories. to create new ways of being, to create new ways of relating to people. We have so much division in our country right now. Isn't it time to let go of those stories of who we think we are and just allow ourselves to be the soul that belongs here, the soul that is loving, the soul that is just wanting to connect with everyone, and stop drawing a line in the sand and saying, they're over there and I'm over here, and just allow ourselves to be kind. Shapiro talks in this chapter about the man at the pool of Bethesda who was paralyzed for many years and complained that nobody would help him into the water to heal. He was paralyzed. And Jesus just says to him, pick up your mat and walk. So how many of us are paralyzed with these stories about ourselves, these identities that we attach ourselves to and we can't let go of? Instead of the unknown, which is what we're invited into with this reading, the unknown, embrace the unknown, because the unknowing can allow us to move into places that we hadn't been before. It can allow us to embrace humility. It does bring humility, this unknown. And so we're so afraid of that sometimes. It's much easier to stay in our comfort zones with something we don't like than to let go of that and step into something we don't know. But when we don't know, when we allow ourselves to be in this unknowing place, we can experience life in a new way, in a more loving way, in a more peaceful way. I went to the drum circle on Friday that we had here, the one heartbeat drum, and it was interesting. I'd never been to a drum circle before. And what was so fascinating, I'm going to use my granddaughter's middle name, Cadence. Everybody had their own cadence. Everybody had their own rhythm. And they're all playing at the same time, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'd never experienced anything like that, and it reminded me of unity's first principle. We are one. There's one power, one presence. The only power and presence that in the world, in the universe, in all of creation is good. Anything else is we're giving power to it. And at the end of that drumming circle, we sang, and I had gotten up to use the restroom, so I don't know why we were singing This Little Light of Mine, but I came back and we were singing This Little Light of Mine, which was also beautiful. We all know that song. And it was Diwali on Thursday, and that's a 5-day celebration in the Hindu tradition of a festival of lights. Where they celebrate light over darkness, where they celebrate good over evil, knowledge over ignorance. It's a time of celebration. It's a time of coming together and feeding each other sweet treats. Kind of like Halloween, right? But it's that light, to remember that we are this light and we can share this light with everyone. We can share our light as an act of kindness. Pick up our mat and walk. Stop being paralyzed. On Halloween, I went over to my daughter's house and held my granddaughter I was a baby hog. I was like, nobody's gonna hold this baby but me. I'm gonna hold her for the whole time I'm here. And she slept through the whole thing. She never even opened her eyes for me. Gosh, darn it. But I'm just staring at her perfect little face and thinking, what possibilities for her life? What potential there is in this? Who knows what her life's going to be? But I can just hold this vision of just a beautiful life for her. But children don't come into the world with biases, with prejudice, with hate. They have to learn that. And they learn it from us, unfortunately. And so we can try to remember that we can show kindness, that we can show love, and teach our children. There was a survey in 2019 of lots and lots of parents, and they asked what quality did they most want their children to have. And over 90% said they wanted their child to be a caring adult. They wanted their child to be kind. That's so beautiful. That means that in this country, we still value that. We value kindness. We value compassion and empathy. And these young parents, many young parents here, you probably agree with that. We want our children to be kind. I used to tell my kids when they were growing up, you don't have to like everybody, but you have to be kind to everyone. Just be kind to people. We so often forget that, especially for me when I'm driving. This morning I was reminded, the highway is a beautiful place to practice these things, and I'm not very good at it yet. I keep practicing. I catch myself, but only after the fact, not during the fact. I was watching a video of Rabbi Rami Shapiro a few weeks ago, and he talked about how there's a saying that we only have so many words. We come into this life with only being able to speak so many words. And we don't know what that number is, but it's finite. And you don't know when your last words are going to be, so you don't want them to be, "You idiot." Or something along those lines. And I was reminded of that this morning as I was driving to work. You know, we get to practice. We get to practice being kind and seeing the good, and maybe not seeing it, looking for it. Looking for it. I just got a new contact. I wear one contact. I have monovision, and I can see your face is so much better. It requires clear vision. Loving kindness requires clear vision. It requires us to see what sometimes maybe we don't want to see, or we block out. Seeing the image of God in every person, whether we agree with them or not. There is that image of God, like we did the first week with the Hebrew letters. Image of God. And we forget. So we're invited to constantly practice this. In the book on creating kindness, Rabbi Rami has many things you can practice, many things you can try. The first one that he mentioned is Tonglen, which is a meditation that I became aware of a couple years ago when I was in my spiritual direction program. I didn't like it then. I was going through some stuff here, and I was in a lot of pain. And my heart was not big enough to breathe in pain. So the Tonglen practices, you breathe in the suffering, you breathe in the pain of someone else. You don't hold on to it, you transform it, and you breathe out peace and love. I couldn't do that a couple years ago. I tried it again this week. There's several, you can go on YouTube, and there's several, Pima Chodron, am I saying her name right? Has some meditations where she guides you through it. And it is beautiful. And our hearts are big enough to transform other people's pain and suffering, and to send out then peace and love and joy. But we need to be in a good place ourselves. Just a word of caution that if we're in a place of pain and struggle, then breathing in someone else's is just, it's not a good time to do it. It's not a good time to do it. But when you are in a good place, it's beautiful. You realize that we are big enough. We can do this. We can uplift others with our kindness. He also talks about Nikon, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it exactly right, but it's to ask yourself 3 questions. And I have a similar practice I do as I'm dropping off to sleep in reviewing my day. And he said he does it at the end of his day as well. What have I given today? What have I received today? And what trouble or difficulties have I caused today? And it really takes a lot of inner work, inner looking. And I think that's what that word means, something like looking inside. Looking inside, so that we can then release the day, go to sleep, and wake up fresh for a new day of kindness. He talks a lot in this chapter, it's a longer chapter, about generosity, about giving, about tithing, about being generous with what we have, with our gifts. And it's not easy if you're not a tither to start tithing. I started in 2005 when I took my first prosperity class at Unity Church in Michigan. Tithing is a beautiful practice. It's a discipline. And it's just enough to make it uncomfortable, 10% of your income. And I looked for many ways to not tithe. After I first started doing it, I was a single mom. Like, I can't do this. It's too much. But there is no other discipline that I know of, and I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm saying it allows you to get yourself to a place of giving, a regular habit of giving. We want to be in the flow of giving because we are giving beings. We're giving beings. And then once you get into a tithing practice or a regular giving practice, then give as your heart dictates. I tithe back here from my salary and then give to wherever I feel called to give. Financially, with my time, with my talent. We have so much to give. Many of us, so much to give. And it's not just money, but money is a place where many of us get stuck. But we can be giving beings. Eric Butterworth talks about how we are the flow of life. And if we find a place in our lives where there is lack, it's because we have cut off the flow. So if you feel like you don't have enough friends in your life, you've cut off the flow from being a friend. Or if you find that you don't have enough money in your life, you've cut off the flow from receiving money, so you have to give. His answer is always give. If you find something that is lacking in your life, give. Be the flow of life. If you find that you're not seeing kindness, be kind. Be kind. So I found this video of this little 10-year-old who talked, I think she was giving a talk, I don't know who she was giving the talk to. And it was a home, recorded, somebody was recording it on their phone, I think. So the quality's not perfect, and we'll have it in the update this week if you can't understand or some of the words are a little hard and we couldn't do closed caption. But I want to show it anyway because it's really sweet. So let's play the video.
An American writer once said, 3 things in human life are important. The first, to be kind. The second, to be kind. And the third, yes, to be kind. I share these words with you because they explain my one wish for America. Anyone can wish. I mean, I can easily wish for that A+ on my spelling test. But if I don't do the work, I can't get the A. I can wish for America to find a cure for cancer. And I can also wish for peace. But I mean, I'm only 10. I would love to do these things, but I can't. Well, maybe someday I can. But for now, there are things that I can do. And one of them is to be kind. Bullying is when a person hurts another person by saying mean words or using actions to physically hurt someone else. There are words for these types of bullying: emotional bullying, physical bullying, and cyberbullying. Did you know 1 out of 10 students drop out of school because of repeated bullying? And that 3.2 million students each year are victims of bullying. This is so sad. But you know what? We can all change this, but only if we can all be kind. There are little things that we can all do. We can all be kind. Anybody can be kind to anyone. You can be kind to, well, not just your best friend, not just your neighbor, but a total stranger. All you have to do to be kind, just smile. That's it. Kindness is simple. You could smile at someone at a store. That could make their day. And chances are, they'll smile back. That could make you feel good too. Kindness can change someone's life. For example, if there's a student walking around with no one at recess, they could get teased. They could get bullied for having no friends. They could turn out to be one of the victims of bullying who drop out of school. But think, the next time you see that person, you go and talk to them. So they don't get teased. So they don't drop out of school. So they have a happy life. Kindness is amazing. My teacher was reading a book to my class called Wonder by R.J. Palacio. This book is about a boy who has a disfigured face, and he is bullied because of it. When given the choice between being right or being kind, choose kind, is what his teacher said once. So let's go and do something. Tomorrow, just maybe, you'll see someone and you'll smile. But why wait until tomorrow? Be kind today, and I mean right now, right this second. So do you think that we can make a difference? I do, and I know that we can make a difference together. I know it.
She's sweet, so sweet. Yeah, so I love how she says it's a choice, and it is. It's a choice. Kindness is a choice. It's a choice we get to choose every moment. Are we going to be kind, or are we going to not be kind? We get to pick. And it's easy to be kind to someone that's nice to you, but not so easy to be kind to someone that maybe isn't. We still have a choice of how we're going to behave, of how we're going to show up, of who we're going to be. Are we going to be that image of God, that likeness of God, or not? It's our choice. We were in Amsterdam this summer, and we went to this little shop, and they had this on the window, and I took a picture of it. Let me put that. Wake up, kiss ass, be kind, repeat. I love that. I thought, well, this is going to come in handy at some point. But so I Googled it yesterday to see, well, where does that come from? I couldn't figure out where it came from, but it's a thing. Did you know it's on all this swag? Like there are pages and pages and pages on Google of different stores selling stuff that say that. Be kind. Some of them don't have the be kind part in there. But I love this. Be kind. Be kind to the person next to you. Be kind to yourself as well. Be kind to yourself. Then be kind to the person next to you. Be kind to the stranger. Be kind to the person who's going to the polls this week. We're voting this week, and this is a real opportunity to be kind. No matter the outcome, to be kind. And just remember that whatever story we're living, whatever story we're telling ourselves about ourselves, so is the person next to you has their own story. Just as valid to them as your story is to you. And so we have an opportunity to be kind. I found this quote that I think is really appropriate for this week. After the election, some will rejoice, let them not gloat. After the election, some will grieve, let them not despair. Heal our way forward, soften our hardened hearts, inspire us to be just, kind, and humble. May we have eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts to hope. Be kind. Namaste.